Y'all got me? Okay. When you look at this game this week, it's a great opportunity for us playing against a really good football team. When you look at Kentucky, to me, I'm looking at them over the last 4 or 5 years. They continue to get better every year. They're a physical team. They're very well coached. They play together. They played in a lot of close games and won a lot of close games over the last couple of years. So be a tremendous challenge for us. Find out a little bit about who we are. We've had a couple of good days of practice here. It's going to be a fast turnaround with an early kick on Saturday, and we're looking forward to it. So we need to play a clean game. We need to play together. We need to bring a lot of fight and perseverance with us because it'll be one of those games.
Questions? We'll start with David Pascal and then go to Gustavo.
Hey, Jeremy, there have been a lot of reality kind of moments during this coronavirus, like when you announcing 44 players missing practice. Of course, today seems like one of those days, too, with the Florida LSU cancellation and then just news about Nick Saban testing for COVID. Just kind of wanted to get your reaction since I know you and Coach are obviously tight.
Yeah, it's the reality. I don't think there's probably not any family across our country that has not been affected during this pandemic, whether it's somebody losing a family member or somebody getting COVID and missing work and going through the anxiety and trying to get well. We see it every day with our players, with our staff. I send my kids to school. I send them to school because they need it. And I also know that there's a risk with that. So I get it. I hate it for anybody that has suffered through this. It's tough times. But one thing that I will say is, with the leadership of Greg Sankey and everybody at the SEC office, we've continued since March to find solutions, to find the answers to the problems, and to give these student athletes an opportunity to do something that they love to do and try to do it in the safest way possible. So it obviously it has been a tough day, I guess.
Gustavo?
Coach, there were a lot of issues in the Georgia game. Do you feel like in those days of practice, you were able to fix a lot of issues you had during the Georgia Bulldogs game?
Well, Gustavo, I'd need to take about 15 of those players over there on Georgia's defense and put them over here to work against our offense every day to try to fix some of those problems, right? I mean, we made some mistakes in the game, but, I've talked about this before. They had a lot to do with that, So, we got whipped in the second half. We admit that. And we got to find a way to fix it. And I feel like we got people in our program that, again, are trying to find the solutions to our issues, and we're going to work hard to fix them.
Vince Ferrar.
Jeremy, I know there are a lot of variables to this, and every team is probably very different. But with this year's team, how much of a feel do you have during the week or even in pregame as to how well your team is going to play and maybe, mentally how dialed in they're going to be?
Well, the reality of it is, we take a test tomorrow, which will be our third one of the week. And the kids work really hard to get prepared all during the week at every school, right? But until that third test comes back negative, these guys don't know if they're going to be able to play or not. So there's just a lot of anxiety that not only through our program, but every program, So it's something that we understand. I feel like that our team has handled it in a very positive way, and we've got to continue to do that.
Patrick Brown.
Jeremy, it looks like Tyler Barron is playing a lot for you guys on early downs. What has he done to sort of get that role, and what do you guys like to see from him moving forward?
Well, Tyler's a smart kid, has really good size, has good athleticism. He works hard at practice. He's got some toughness to him, so he's a guy that got to practice most of fall camp, so he took advantage of it. And he knows that he's got to continue to work hard to improve, and he's working hard to do that every day.
Any other questions? Blake Topmeyer.
Yeah, Jeremy, with all this going around at different schools this week, I wanted to check. I mean, what is the situation within your team? I know it's been pretty smooth sailing since the season started for the COVID test, but I mean, what's the situation within your program right now?
Well, we've had no negative tests for I think 3 weeks now. But as you can see, it can change in one day. I think our players and our staff and everybody in our program is working hard to, follow the CDC guidelines and wear your mask. And, but again, when you go home at night and, I got a 3 and a 5-year-old that are at school and they're wearing their masks, but, they also possibly take it off some during the day too. So, for me, I understand that, but it's something that I think all of us have to make a choice and, decide what we think is best moving forward.
Trey Wallace.
Jeremy, can you talk about the progression, if there has been, from J.J. Peterson from fall camp until now? And is he still in the rotation at outside linebacker?
No, he's not. JJ is taking a couple of weeks away from the team. So he's not been with us for a couple of weeks.
Dan Harrelson.
Coach, you mentioned Kentucky the last 4 or 5 years as they continue to get better as a program. Talk about offense coordinator Eddie Gran. He's a guy that's brought a lot of success to that program. Of course, he's had a long and good career in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, well, the first thing that, when you look at an Eddie Gran offense is just the physicality. They're committed to running the football, and they've had success running it against everybody. The creativity that he does each week and how he does it is very impressive to me from a conceptual standpoint and just watching them and studying them. So it's a huge challenge for us, but I think Eddie does a phenomenal job.
Back to Vince Ferrara.
Coach, you talked a little bit about their defense and their physicality there as well. What else about Kentucky's defense presents challenges? They've turned teams over, things like that. But what else do you see in their defense that could be a challenge for you guys?
Well, they play hard. I said this earlier today. I had the opportunity to follow Coach Stoops at Florida State. So a lot of those guys that I coached, he recruited, and I didn't have to teach them how to practice. I didn't have to teach them how to play hard. They were tough. They were physical. They really good at fundamentals, and you can see it with his Kentucky teams. They give you a lot of different looks. They've recruited big, long athletes, guys that have really good ball skills. They play together, give you a lot of different looks. So they create issues.
All right, last question, Gustavo. Let's go Gustavo, then Mike Wilson to finish.
Right. There were a lot of talk about Cade Mays. He's been playing a couple of games. What do you see his, development playing for you?
I'm sorry. What'd you say the last part, Gustavo? What'd I say?
No, about Cade Mays. No, how's he been developing?
Yeah, well, Cade is a guy that really could play every position on the offensive line. He played right tackle against Missouri and a little bit of right guard. Obviously, we've had little bit of injury bug up front on the offensive line. So to get the right combination up there, he played right guard against Georgia. We'll continue to work him at right tackle and right guard as we go through the season.
Jeremy, are you expecting J.J. Peterson back with your team at some point then? And is there an explanation for him stepping aside for a couple weeks?
No, I don't think I want to comment on that. When it's something that JJ wanted to do, and me and him talked and had a really good talk about it. So that'll be between me and him.
But you do expect him back?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all very much.
Okay. Thank you.